Hello, hello. So I was just made aware that my last upload had some issues. So I will take a look at that and try to get that one fixed. Late night post. Felt like maybe this information can get to someone a little bit earlier before tomorrow morning. Hopefully this doesn't cause another sleep in to miss market open, but I'll set plenty of extra alarms this time around. Just wanted to put out, I guess, a little bit more information on some potential plays for tomorrow that I kind of hit at a few of them in my previous upload, or I guess my first one for the day. But I just kind of wanted to hit it a little bit more. I talked about PSFE. That is not a potential short squeeze play. That one is more of a gap fill play. And when I mention that, for those that don't know, a gap fill play is whenever there's a big gap in the chart. Typically it's on like a daily timeline. When there's a big gap, or at least that's where I've noticed it. I guess there is on other time frames, but most of the time when I notice it, it's on the daily. Typically the chart, from what I've been told, and what I've gathered so far, is it tries to fill that gap at some point or another. So for instance, AMC had a gap up, and then it took, and I didn't like that it filled that gap, but it took a while, but it eventually came down to fill that gap, and then it's been going up. So with that, there is a gap in the daily chart on that one. It is starting to come around in a positive trend. And so I see that as a potential gap play. I would kind of watch to make sure that that trend continues. And then when it does, I feel like it risk reward. I think it's like 2 to 1 right now. I would risk like $1 down in order to potentially go $2 up. ATER was one that's been talked about more. I've mentioned it before. I actually cashed in on some profits on that one. I might get back into that play tomorrow, just with how the chart's set up. VIH is another one of those where I got in earlier this week, and I got out of a little bit profit-wise. But the way the chart looks right now, it does look like that $15 area could hit sooner than later. But again, not a fortune teller, not a financial advisor. This is just kind of some random thoughts by, oh yeah, hey, it's Mike Mongo. I claim to be a rookie trader because I've only been doing this since March. And I always try to lead this video, and I know I've had a couple comments. Why would you mention that you've lost so much? Why would we take your advice? The reason why I mentioned that I've lost more than I've gained so far is because I am just trying to emphasize that I've learned the hard way. And I'm trying to prevent others from doing that as well. There's like statistics that like 85% of people that get into the stock market typically lose all of their, like, whatever their initial investment was or something like that. And when I saw that statistic, I was like, ugh. And that's almost what happened to me. So I'm clawing my way back up, and I just wanted to emphasize that, like, hey, like, I learned the hard way. Try to take some of this and keep yourselves from kind of getting into some of those similar situations. Sklz is also on my watch list for tomorrow for a potential play, just because of its utilization and the way it's been kind of spiking and moving a little bit with today's chart, or well, I guess technically yesterday's chart. But I would just kind of set some alerts on that one, keep an eye on it. Maybe not necessarily try to ride the whole wave, maybe just catch just a small part of it once it hits a certain breakout point. Try to jump in for an entry and then get out at the nearest resistance, just for a quick swing play or day trade. Kplt, that one has ran some. I feel like it could, based on how much discussions I've heard on other pages about it. I don't feel like the sentiment behind that one, or the hype behind that one, has fallen off completely. I do see that one talked about a lot. I could realistically see that one getting towards that $10 mark. And so that's something that I'm watching. A sleeper that I picked yesterday, and there's just the way it's set up just looks like I want to add a little bit more to it. JOBY. That one, I don't know. I guess a feeling. The numbers are set up for it pretty good. And if that had any kind of attention or movement, I feel like that one could really get going. Similar float wise, or well, float percentage wise, as SPRT was, 99.39% on the utilization. Low short interest at only 2.41, but over 200% on the cost to borrow. And that just typically has been working out for some short-term plays for me, is whenever the cost to borrow is over 200%. So 225.49 is the actual cost to borrow right now. Let's see. Ftft is a newer one that I am kind of keeping an eye on. And that one just has a pretty good setup. Looking at the chart, getting near that $5 or even that $7.50 area, I see could happen. But I'd give myself some more time on that one. I would kind of play that 1 month, 2 months out. And the calls on that one are not too crazy when they're like further out. Let's see. Clove was a play that I'd cash in on some today because it was up over 100%. I was like, let's take it and run. But that one could, from what I've been hearing and seeing on other pages and comments and just kind of hype areas, there has been more talk about it doing more tomorrow or this week. So I would keep an eye on that one. I don't want to chase that one. So it's going to kind of take like some solid trend and maybe a cool off for me to consider it. But that's one that I'm considering. And then two new ones that I found tonight, pouring through a bunch of information. And that's part of the reason why this video is so late, is because I don't know, I just poured through some more for potential plays. WPG, 24.46 million outstanding shares, 99.05% free float, which is not the percentage that I usually look for, but because it's such a small amount of outstanding shares, it's kind of nice in that aspect of it. It's 100% utilization, 18.72% short interest, and then 33.62% cost to borrow. That 100% utilization piqued my interest. I believe it had a pretty red day today. So it could be, if you see some trend reversal in that one, that could be a good way of getting in on an entry point before, I guess, any more information or any more buyers roll into that one and start causing it to go up. So I feel like that one might be a good pre-chase play. But again, I would watch to see some strength or some trend reversal in that one. And then the last one for tonight, and also that one's a really cheap one. So that one I feel like you could maybe risk a little bit more because of how cheap the play is. Because it getting to $2 or it getting to $3.50 in that, I mean, like that's, I feel like you could set like a pretty early on risk maybe, and just kind of let it, maybe stick with stocks because of how cheap it is. So then you're not as risky as if you were playing options. And then FFIE is my last one that I found for the night. 324.36 million outstanding shares, but the number that I liked was that it was 34.19% float, free float, and then 100% utilization, which always catches my eye. Only 10.38% short interest, which I know a lot of people prefer that to be way up there, but 161.28% cost to borrow, which anything over 100 I like kind of open my eyes to anything over 200. I kind of like start to get excited about. But that kind of just, like I said, these are just some plays that I'm really focusing on tomorrow. I do have like the plays that are already in with the AMC, which is majority of my portfolio, and that being at a crucial point right now. I really hope that it just kind of cruises to that 50 mark. But it's just been a ride with that one since June. Well, I guess it's been a ride for more than that, but that's when it's really gotten volatile for me. And then let's see, SPRT I mentioned in my previous video earlier today, and BBIG I really pushed last night, which those of you that may have already been in that play or got into that play, I feel like you're sitting pretty right now. I'm really excited to see what happens in the next 3 hours and 21 minutes for the pre-open or pre-market open. I just hope that one just kind of keeps running into today, technically. But yeah, so like I said, I'm not a financial advisor. Hopefully this video goes up a little bit smoother. Mongo's already passed out. I am fighting these contacts, so I'm going to take these out and head to bed. Consider liking, subscribing, commenting, your choice, all of them preferred. And then any plays that you're particularly looking at for tomorrow or this week, I'd love to hear it. And for those that have been kind of adding in comments about recommendations or like just looking out for me, I really appreciate that. And you guys are the majority of the reason why I do this. So from Mongo and I, hope you maybe get to see this before market open and that you got a great night's sleep. And until next time, peace.